Okay, welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, now we'll be talking about the NYSC. We did look at some part of that yesterday, as a matter of fact, and now we're joined by Mr. Eddie Miagwa, who is the NYSC's Director of Press and Public Relations. He joins us virtually. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today. Well, yes, perhaps you should go ahead and tell us. We did speak about the kidnapped core members. What can you tell us about it? What is going on with that now?
Chamberlain, thank you. Chamberlain, to say good morning to all Nigerians. First and foremost, let me send our heart feelings to the families of our prospective core members that were kidnapped. The entire NYSC family is in pain, just like you. We're praying to Almighty God that in no time these prospective core members will be released, and all of us will be happy for it. But before this, I need to say that the young man that came on set yesterday, who claimed to be one of the parents of the kidnapped core members, it's not actually one of the parents. In fact, when we fact-checked, we discovered that he's just an in-law to one of the kidnapped prospective core members. However, he has right to have his feelings the way he expressed himself, but we must put it on record that from the point these core members or prospective core members were kidnapped, the parents of these prospective core members, they have a group chat, a group platform where they are relating with the management of the National Youth Service Corps. And in fact, the Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Y.D. Hammett, every day relates with the families of these kidnapped prospective core members. Even as he was speaking yesterday, they were online with the DG discussing on what is going on. And since this issue had happened, the Director General and his management team moved to Zamfara. And right there, they've been there for the past 2.5 weeks, synergizing with the security agencies, the Army, the DSS, the police, to make sure that these children are released without being hurt.
Okay, so Mr. Magwa, before you proceed a little further, are the parents of the lady in question in the NYSC platform you spoke about?
Oh yes. The mother is in the platform. The mother is in the platform. The young man who came on set yesterday, it's not there.
What's the name of the mother?
Due diligence in fact checking to find out from the family.
What is the name of the mother?
Sorry?
What's the name of the mother, the person on the platform?
Sorry, for security reasons, we would not want to disclose that.
Well, Mr. Etim, who was on the program, in fact, he sent us the lady's call-up certificate. So he says that the parents of the girl in question are late. The lady is his adopted daughter. So he's been the one catering for the girl. And so he had the call-up letter. He's been in touch with the lady throughout, and that is how he comes into the picture. That is his account of what he told us. Okay,
well, that could be his submission, but in our records, we don't have him as the next of kin. We don't even have him as the parent of the prospective core member. But the point I'm trying to express that before people will come on national television to speak on issues, they should fact check what things they want to say so that they don't mislead the public. And they don't use their words to incite the public. The NYSC have done everything humanly possible to make sure that these prospective core members are released without being hurt. And somebody will just walk up there to say that NYSC is not doing anything. Now, security issues are not issues you come on the platform of the television to start discussing. Don't forget, as you're talking, the enemies are watching. And they also want to take dressing from what you're saying. So please, we needed to come on air to clear this issue. And what we expect from the entire Nigerians, to please pray along with us.
But Mr. Magua, just before, but what he told us, though, we need to put this on record so that if we get him back, he can clarify otherwise. What he said is, whoever you think you have on the platform is a sister. And so, but when you say is the mother, he says, well, look, he's not sure of what you're saying about that, but we will bring him back and then to clarify what all of this is. But just to put that out there on the record, that he is the parent of and the girl is his adopted daughter. That's what he categorically tells the whole world.
Now, if he is taking that position, then why is he not in the platform that all the families created and they're using it to relate to the management of the National Youth Service Corps? One expected him to be in that platform. But if he's in that platform, he will have first-hand information of what we are doing from the point that these corps members or prospective corps members were kidnapped.
Mr. Magua, while that is going on and while we put out our hearts to the parents and the families of these children who've been kidnapped, the NYSC is more or less like in a test as we speak, because it's not the first time that I've had corps members kidnapped. I mean, 2018, 2019, 2023, and some prospective corps members, even in Abuja this year also, besides this 9 that have been kidnapped. What's the plan of the National Youth Service Corps to ensure that this kind of a thing does not happen again?
My dear brother, let us not look at NYSC as if we are living in a different world. NYSC is part of Nigerian society. You and I know that the kind of security situation we have in the country is not selective. Some students are kidnapped at a point. Some government officials are kidnapped at a point. Even young children in primary and nursery schools are kidnapped. So NYSC or corps members are not living in a different world. But we have made it categorically clear, and we've told our corps members, please don't travel in the night. In their call-up letters, we stated it clearly. In the addendum to their call-up letters, okay, section 8 of it, and subsection 1, 2, 3. We say, please, anywhere you are, and once it's 6 p.m., cut short your trip. Pass the night in any park or police station or military barracks or a call lodge, anywhere you think that is safe. Pass the night there. Tomorrow you continue your journey. Now, this issue in question, they got to that point around 8 p.m. And that road, that Funtua road, is a very deadly road. In fact, all passengers, the moment they get to that place by 6, they park. And they wait till the next day. But this driver continued in his trip. And we say, please, corps members or prospective corps members, anytime you are traveling, don't move after 6. Now, these are part of the security measures we have put in place to ensure that such issues will not happen. Okay. Now, when you go to our orientation camps, we have our security modalities that are put in place to ensure that security breaches does not occur while in the orientation camp. NYSC, we are very proactive, and that is why we send out this thing even before the commencement of the orientation camps. We make publications in traditional media, even in television, in print media. If you go to the section 3.4 of it, we told them specifically, please do not travel in the night. You know, some of these youth, sometimes you say this thing because of useful exuberance, they say, hey, let's go, nothing's going to happen. And in the process, they get nabbed. But suffice it to say that the management has done everything that they need to do
Mr.
to ensure
if I may come in here, I do know that when we served, one of the slogans at that time was, when you're a corps member, you are government Pekin. So the government is responsible indeed for your everything, your transportation, your health, your insurance, your protection. So at that point in time, and it's called the National Youth Service Corps, at that point in time, that young man, that young woman belongs to the federal government. When you say you've done everything possible.
Yes.
that some will say, what exactly, besides all this, don't travel at night, when you get to the police station, sleep there, when you get to this place, sleep there, what are the things, can you be more specific? Because some will tell you that, hey, every corps member goes out there, he's more or less on his own till he gets to camp. And it's only when he gets to camp that he's somewhat taken care of.
Right. We have reached out to National Union of Road Transport Workers. And we have also told them, please, between so time and so time, our corps members or prospective corps members will be traveling. Please ensure you give them adequate attention and brief your drivers. Let them not drive in the night. Now, no matter the kind of security apparatus that is kept around you to monitor you and to make sure you're safe, you yourself need to be security conscious. Your life should be more important to you than any other person. And so if you are not security conscious, then you are making yourself vulnerable to issues just as the one we are saying. Perchance, they did not travel in the night. Perchance, they slept at a safe place by 6 p.m. All these issues we're talking about wouldn't have happened. However, it has happened, and it is our responsibility and the responsibility of the entire Nigerians to ensure that we will, get them back safe and good.
Let me read this message from Mr. Emmanuel Lete, who was the person you're talking about. He says, he sent us this message: Glory Thomas is my daughter. All the talks are distractions. If there's a platform circulating information to the parents and I'm not included, does not mean she's not my daughter. She is an orphan who is looking up to me as a father, and I have a responsibility to protect her interest. And then he goes on to say, among several other things, if it interests anyone to know who I am, then find out from the girl who I am. All he needs is the release of the daughter. So at the moment, what can you say is the current situation now? Because people are so looking forward to the release of these ACOR members. I know it will be challenging to get all of that sorted, but what can you tell us about attempts being made to release them?
Before I answer that, I need to equally clarify that when somebody, Chamberlain, you're a parent, you have children. If your child is going through the kind of situation these young ones are going, you will stop at nothing to ensure that you liaise with the relevant agencies to ensure that you know what is actually going on. Now, I am taken aback that Emmanuel Lete claims to be a father to one of these prospective kidnapped corps members. And he has not found it important to identify with the group that is trying to find out how to get these children out of the situation. It is mind-boggling. I can't just believe it. However, going to the question you asked, for the past 2.5 weeks, the DG has been in Zamfara State. He has met with all the security agencies. He has even met with the traditional ruler, the Emir of Safe. He visits him often. And we have had meaningful discussion with them, including the governor of the state. Now, everything has been done. I cannot disclose the situation because it's a security issue, but I want to believe that in no time, by the grace of God Almighty, that these children are going to come back to us, hell and heaven. Yeah,
we will keep hope alive in that regard. And I cannot question anyone, parents who treat whichever style they have. It's beyond me to question all of that. But he also did tell us that they had called him from the camp at the time, the kidnappers, demanding 4 million naira. And after a while, the trail went cold. So is there any information in that regard? Are they asking questions, or is it something you don't want to disclose yet?
Yeah, I think that's an issue we wouldn't want to talk about because it might be injurious to situations that we're handling. So please, let's just set it aside. Because if money is the issue, our children would have been back. But we are working to ensure that they come back to us safely without being hurt.
All right. Okay, let's bring in our colleagues in Lagos.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Well, Mr. Megwa, my colleague Nota asked the other time about whether or not the NYSC has done everything possible, as you said. I mean, we cannot remonstrate or argue with the tremendous and immense, intense work the NYSC is doing, operating from whatever spot in the country to manage the affairs of youth corps members spread across all the square kilometers in the country, 36 states, 774 local governments. It's a lot of work and it's a logistic nightmare. There is no doubt about it. However, when you say, I mean, they've been advised to not travel in the night and all. Yesterday, one of the things we tried to do was to even try to measure the distance between Akwa Ibom, where the takeoff point was, and where the occurrence happened. Depending on the kind of vehicle you're driving, is between 17 and 20 or even 22 hours, depending on time of day, vehicle being driven, and all of those things. If they don't have a dedicated vehicle, it's only at the, and looking at their own costs, the transporters' costs and everything, they would decide whether or not they want to continue and all of that. These students are probably going to these areas for the very first time in their lives. Their eyes are focused on one particular location, in this case, maybe Sokoto State. And here we are having to, they're advised to stay, come off the vehicle every 8 hours or thereabout and not travel any further. Was there any provision made for them to travel? Was there any, could the NYSC, for instance, have given a kind of dedicated vehicle with enough security, personnel? I don't know. I mean, just throwing up all these issues, because my colleague raised with you the other time the number of times that these things have happened, particularly to corps members who are naturally petrified about most of them are naturally petrified about anything Nigerian. But then here they are now, they have to do this. So is there any other thing that could have been done to, perhaps particularly in the light of the security challenges, ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen?
My brother, I appreciate the way you have expanded the situation. But let us look at it against the backdrop of the reality we are having in the country. And of course, vis-a-vis the number of corps members that we call up every year for national service. Now, we are talking about 350,000 corps members that we mobilize for national service every year. Now, where the National Youth Service Corps go hiring buses, designate them at different states of the Federation, different local government areas, different villages, so for them to converge, to start taking them to different orientation camps and all that. Now, let us also look at it. Now, we have especially in this batch, about 68,000 corps members that are mobilized for this 2023 batch B stream 2 corps members. Okay, now we now have this fraction that had this kidnap incident. Okay, now we recorded almost 100% success. We're not saying that these ones are not they're important to us. They're very dear to us. And that is why, for the first time in the history of the National Youth Service Corps, that the Director General and his management will leave the headquarters of the National Youth Service Corps and relocate to Zamfara State. He decided not to touch any other orientation camp. He stayed right there to ensure that he see to it that these children are released. So, questioning the issue, can we make flights available? Can we make vehicles available? It's undoable because of the nature of the program which we are coordinating. I'm very sure you served. And when you served, I'm sure nobody paid your flight ticket or paid your road fare for you to get to the destination of your orientation camp. I served too.
Mr. Megwa.
The same thing. But as the issue evolved, of course, everything boiled down to Naira and Kobo. Okay, ideas will be welcome. Those that are practicable will handle it.
Mr.
But
Megwa,
those that cannot will leave it.
Mr. Megwa, if that is the case, and considering also all of the other things that you have said that the NYSC is doing, to ensure the success of the scheme, would you be willing? Will the core be willing to consider the concerns of parents? Particularly the one put forward by Mr. Ete, who claims to be the guardian of Glory Thomas, that the core should stop posting members, prospective members. By the way, I noted that you kept referring to them as prospective members. Should stop posting them to Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi states because of the security situation. Regardless of the guidance provided in the call-up letter, I am very sure that a number of parents would not rest assured knowing that their children will be secure when they're traveling to those routes, for the resumption of their primary assignment.
Yeah, thank you. It is, of course, an utmost concern to the National Youth Service Corps to ensure that our young children that go for national service are very safe and good to undertake their National Youth Service Corps program. We'll be glad to see that all of them that will call up for national service report at their various orientation camps and arrive safe and undertake the program. However, the call not to send corps members or prospective corps members to some states, it's not a decision National Youth Service can make. We are working with an act, and the act of NYSC is part of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And so we cannot just wake up and say, okay, Sokoto, Zamfara, ABC, we cannot send corps members there. No. For instance, in the past 12 years, we've not had orientation course program in Borno State. Now, recently, in this present orientation camp that is ongoing, we have corps members having the orientation camp in Borno State now. And we recorded about 1,228 corps members right in the orientation camp there. And they adhered strictly because of the terrain of that environment, that don't travel in the night. And all of them obeyed. And that's why they arrived safely at the orientation camp. And the Borno people are so excited to have the young ones all over the country coming to be with them and also to assist them in the development of the state. So I don't think it's proper, and we don't have that mandate to, on our own, decide that we are not going to send corps members to specific states all through the service year. Orientation, if there are specific security challenges, yes, we will consult with the government and again relocate the orientation camp to somewhere that is safe. Because for the past 12 years, we've been running Borno orientation camp in Katsina State. But now we have clearance that the security is good, and that's why we are running the orientation camp in this state. I think it's something we all need to look at and pray and help ourselves to ensure that the security of lives and property in Nigeria, all of us must be partaker in it and see how we can get it clean.
Yeah, and also regarding the way they travel, there are several accounts. Some accounts, they say that they left Uyo, got to Abuja, slept in Abuja, and then continued their journey onward Sokoto via Zamfara. So perhaps we could just have that at the back of our minds in terms of finding out whether or not they were traveling overnight. But I guess we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope that all ends well.